Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel today with Baby Me. So today with my husband to help to my YouTube channel about the story. I meet the young lady in working in Valencia. She have a sad story.
A very sad story.
Yeah.
And we cannot post her picture or her name. The other day, a couple days ago, I think it was,
Yeah.
I don't know, you went your way, I went my way. And I went off and had coffee with somebody.
Yeah.
And you had gone out and you had went shopping or whatever. You bumped into a woman that works in Valencia.
Yeah.
Young woman, teenager.
Yeah.
19 years old, we can say that.
Yeah.
And May came back visibly shaken, visibly upset. And we didn't get into it at all at the coffee shop because we just went about our day. And then later on that evening, May told me the story of what happened with this woman, a young woman. And she actually videotaped an entire interview with
Yeah.
her. And we discussed it and we talked it over. And you decided it wouldn't be safe
Yeah.
to put that video up. Can you maybe help the people understand why you don't want her face or name or anything out there?
Because she have the sad story and then she experienced the abuse with stepfather. So she's very afraid. But she tell with me she is already report in the police station, have the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know if the police did anything?
No, I don't.
It reminds me of a time, well, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Okay. She not tell me about that. She only tell me is already report in the police station.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the gist of it, is that her father left
Yeah.
while her mother was pregnant with her,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So she was born
Yeah.
into a single mom's family. Her father went off to Manila,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And she's never met her father?
She not met because the mother that time is the pregnant with the young lady.
And the man left, and he's never contacted her.
Yeah, she
In
not have the
19 years, so she
Yeah.
doesn't know her. She knows who he is, but they've never met.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that in and of itself is nothing too unique, that there's a single parent household moving forward. But then what you told me was that the mother remarried or got a boyfriend. One of the two.
Married again.
Married again.
Yeah.
So she now has a stepfather,
Yeah.
and he began to abuse her. And in the video, I was actually suggesting to May that we should show snippets or clips or whatever of the video. And we sort of tried to blur out her face and whatnot. But we really wanted to err on the side of safety for her, because it only takes one person to see the video and figure out who this young lady is, and there could be consequences for her. And so we don't want to put anyone at risk. And we decided, or May decided, that it would maybe be better if we just told the story without showing any of the video, even though the young lady was brave enough to talk about it. May, during the entire video, was under the impression that the young lady had been physically abused, like hit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And every time you dug into that, she said the word secret.
Yeah, secret.
Now, what does that mean?
Because she's afraid for the stepfather.
Secret is a word that's used out here a lot by Filipinos. I don't know about men, but I know the women use it a lot. And what secret means is, I'm not going there. I'm not talking about that. It's a polite way of saying, quit asking. And you asked her 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
You were trying to dig into it, like, well, what happened? Because you were curious, number one.
Yeah, I'm curious.
And you really wanted to be able to share her story.
Yeah.
And the girl kept saying, no, secret, secret, secret.
Yes.
After the camera stopped,
Yeah.
you were able to talk to her privately.
Yeah.
And and you guys were just, and you, I think she worked at a store where you bought some items at the store.
Yeah.
And, oh, one thing we didn't hit on. How much does she make every day?
100 plus. She told-
180.
Yeah.
I remember exactly.
Yeah, she told me that.
180 pesos a day, which is about 350. I mean, I'm sorry, 300. $3.50, round numbers, USD, and that's for a full day.
Yeah.
And the owner actually had a shorter day that day because it was Ramadan or something like that.
Ramadan.
And it was a Muslim holiday. He's
Yeah.
a Muslim owner. And so she works at this establishment for a little over $3, call it $4 a day. And wasn't complaining at all about money or anything. She
No.
didn't,
No.
you know,
Yeah.
seem like to feel bad for herself or
Yeah.
anything like that. But what she was afraid of was her stepfather. And the abuse began at what age?
She is elementary working student and then stay out.
Okay, so an elementary school child. She was what, about 11 years old, I think you said?
I think so. 11 years
11
old.
years old
Yeah.
that he began to abuse her. But it wasn't hitting.
Yeah.
It was,
I thinking that time is only classmate for the give abuse, but in the end, she tell with me is stepfather. Though that's why I'm shocked.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So the gist of it was that she had been abused, she'd been abused, she'd been abused. She wouldn't
Yeah.
get specific about it, but it was sexual abuse that this man was having with her, and he is, and still is, her stepfather. And you were able to relate to that, not because you've been sexually abused,
Yeah.
but because you've been traumatized a couple of times
Yeah.
by foreigners here
Yeah, for
that have
yelling.
screamed at you and yelled at you and called you names and
Yeah.
things like that. But I don't think you can imagine what it must be like to have taken it to that level. I mean, that's a whole new
Yeah.
deal. Now, you're fortunate that you have me to bounce that off of, and you can talk about it, and you get it, and I can help you or try to
Yeah.
soothe you down or calm you down
Yeah.
or give you some guidance or whatever. But this young lady just has no one to turn to.
Yeah, no.
And the guy's still living there, and unfortunately, he's still continuing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
He's still proceeding with that type of behavior. We don't know what to do with this young lady. She's filed a police report.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a story that you and I experienced firsthand back when we lived in Highland
Oh,
Villas.
yeah.
I got a phone call, or May got a phone call by a friend of ours that at midnight she was being abused by a foreigner,
Yeah.
right? Physically, not
Yeah.
sexually, but physically abused. We said, okay, and come on over. And so she came over, and I called my landlord, who's Filipina, at 1 o'clock in the morning. And she was totally cool with me calling her and waking her up because of the situation. I said, look, I got this situation. There's this woman here, and she's been knocked around by her boyfriend. What do I do? I mean, what's there to do here? I don't know what kind of social services are available for this, if any. And she said, Paul, I'm so glad you called. This is awful. You take her immediately to the police station and file a report. I said, okie dokie. So I put her on, at the time, my gay-ass looking little scooter, hauled her up to the police station, and they stayed at home.
Yeah.
And she went upstairs, spoke to a woman police officer. I stayed downstairs with the boys where we smoked and drank coffee for about an hour while the interview was going on. And then they called me upstairs, and the woman counselor, police counselor, said, well, she wants to go home. She wants to go back to the guy. I said, well, shouldn't the police, take her back and maybe have a conversation with this guy? And she says, well, that's available. We can do that. And I looked at the young lady, and who will remain nameless, of course.
Yeah.
And she refused that. She goes, no, I just want to go back. And so the policewoman said to me, there's nothing I can do without her permission. We can't do it unless she requests it. And so back we took her, and then the conclusion of that story is 3 days later she packed up her stuff and left the island,
Yeah.
which was the smartest thing she could do. In this circumstance, though, we have this untenable situation where this poor thing is she's been to the police.
Yeah, she been in the police. And then that time, the police come to the house, but the young lady told the police she not continue because that time the mother is pregnant and then getting born the baby, another baby.
So the mom's pregnant again.
Yeah.
And did the mom believe her that this man was doing this to her?
Yeah, the young lady, she tell to the mother, but the mother, she not believe to the daughter. Yeah.
So what a pickle to be in. And then you have not a one-on-one personal experience, but you had a neighbor at one time
Yeah.
that went through a similar experience. So I think that, and I don't know about if there was a police report involved there or not, but I know that in my home country back in the States, and I think in most developed countries, or more, rather than an emerging country like this, there is many, many more outlets for people to go to. Now, I asked the woman at the police station, is there a shelter that, when I was back with our situation, is there a shelter that this woman can go to, or is that available? And she said, yeah, but they just have to go. There is a shelter here for women and children. But I think that this cycle of abuse turns into the dysfunctional part of normalcy. Dysfunction becomes normal to people, especially when they're traumatized at an early age. It's their way of having attention. And so we're looking forward to comments from you guys as to what you think we can do to maybe reach out to this young lady. The reason we're not showing her face and the reason we're not telling you her name is very important, because there's this other factor of danger that she's in called chismus and gossip. And if it gets out that she told somebody what this man did, there could be real ramifications for the family losing face, for the mother being afraid that the father, who's the breadwinner now, is going to leave. It's an ugly cycle of dysfunction and abuse that unfortunately is one of the, it's not unique to the Philippines. Sexual abuse, physical abuse of women, it has no borders. It goes throughout the world from the beginning of time. Where we feel kind of helpless in this whole thing is, where can we take it? How can we render aid? What advice can we give her? And we just keep coming up at a loss. She's too young to leave and just strike out on her own. Hopefully this man has got a throttle been put on him. We do not want to start the gossip patrol attacking her, and it could have physical ramifications. There was a woman that I heard about. In fact, remember Elmy, the orphan?
Yeah.
A little girl orphan that I interviewed like 3 years ago. Her mother had gossiped about the neighbors, and the neighbors set the house on fire.
Yeah, very dangerous.
And killed the mother, and Elmy was orphaned. Well, actually, the father raised Elmy for 5 years, then he committed suicide. And so by the time she was 19, she was orphaned and then farmed out to other people. And so those are the types of things that, there's two messages here. There's the abuse factor where the females here, and I imagine the children, just don't really have that fallback. They don't have that safety net that's available, say in America where I'm from. I know that when I went in as an elderly man and I had fallen on my steps and bruised my arm, I went to the doctor for another treatment. I had something else going on. And when he saw the bruise on my arm, he quizzed me and had another person come in and quiz me to make sure that one of my kids or a neighbor or somebody hadn't abused me, elder abuse. They were really heightened to that. And he kept telling me, if there is something going on, you can file a report and we can get this fixed because we don't want this to happen to you. I mean, that's a safety net if the doctor is doing that. Here, there's really, unbeknownst to me, there's anywhere for this girl to turn. I don't know what the answer is. So this is a video that's going to create more questions than answers, at least from us. So I think May would appreciate it. I know I would appreciate it if you gave us some feedback. And if you told us, if you were us, what would you do? You got any final words there, kid?
I'm very sad because about the abuse, if you see that people, you're feeling shaking and that you're not comfortable.
I knew it. You were visibly shaken and you were visibly upset.
Yeah.
So, but it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about her,
Yeah.
And so that's, I guess, this is not your little happy, we're splashing in the pool video that May usually pulls out.
Yeah.
This is a little more of a dark subject and a dark topic, but I think it's important that all aspects of Filipino and Filipino life gets explained. And I just want to thank you for having me on your channel.
Thank you so much, Daddy,
Such an honor
for
to be
helping
with
me.
you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All
And
right.
guys, see you next video. Bye-bye.
See you guys.